You ever find yourself in a place where the air is so thick with tension, you could swear every eye in the room is watching, just waiting to see what happens next? That's how it was that day, 30,000 feet above the ground, on a flight from Chicago to San Francisco. An ordinary morning that turned extraordinary because of one 8-year-old boy and the power of truth spoken without fear. Oh, there's Elijah Johnson. Tiny, serious, smart beyond his years, standing in the narrow aisle of Flight 2187 while every passenger sits frozen, eyes flicking between him and the flight attendant who, just seconds before, was berating his mother, Tamara. Elijah's voice didn't tremble, not even once. According to the Air Carrier Access Act of 1986, specifically Title 14 Code of Federal Regulations Part 382.87, my mother has the right to travel with her medical device without extra fees or seat changes, he says, holding up a printed page, chin high, eyes blazing. Furthermore, the ADA prohibits discrimination based on disability, including on this aircraft, operated by your airline. The hush that follows is thick enough to drown in. A baby stops crying. Businessmen lower their papers. Even the college kids stop whispering. The flight attendant tries to recover, face flushed, but Elijah is steady. Would you like to review the regulations, or shall I ask your supervisor and the compliance officer to join us? He offers, sharp as a prosecutor. In that instant, the whole mood shifts. The question's not, who does this kid think he is, but how the hell does an 8-year-old know aviation law better than airline staff? But to understand Elijah, you gotta win back the clock, maybe 2 days before, to a little apartment in Chicago, where Tamara sits at her kitchen table, sunlight and the scent of magnolias drifting through the window, staring at an email that says her mother in San Francisco is dying. Weeks, maybe days left, and she needs to come home, no matter how much it hurts. Tamara's life has been a story of pride and distance. 3 years of silence after a bitter divorce, a rift she thought might never heal. And here comes Elijah, asking if she's okay, his t-shirt 2 sizes too big, his mind 1,000 miles ahead, already wondering about quantum computing and why grief feels the way it does. If grandma is dying, we should go, he says, logic clear as glass. He's always been like that. Intensely curious, reading law books for fun, setting up a legal clinic at recess, spouting off facts about the 5 stages of grief or airline safety stats like most kids recite dinosaur names. When Tamara finally agrees, it's Elijah who reminds her it isn't charity if family helps. It's just love, the same way the giving tree gives to the boy, because that's what families do. He packs his books on law, medicine, even quantum physics, and the next morning at O'Hare, he's dazzling strangers in line with tidbits about air pressure, airplane window design, and crash statistics. Not imagination, Mom. Research, he corrects, a tiny grown-up in a child's skin. On the plane, there's Richard Harrington in the aisle seat, a polished, guarded attorney with a Rolex and a briefcase full of corporate liability. Elijah pegs him for a lawyer in seconds and dives into a discussion about the infamous McDonald's hot coffee case, citing legal precedents and duty of care with a precocity that leaves Richard somewhere between amused and bewildered. But then, halfway through the flight, the drama breaks loose. 10 rows up, a passenger, Miss Kat Pearson, is nearly in tears as a flight attendant tells her she can't use her medical device because of a seating dispute. Elijah listens, his face darkening. Mom, I think she's being discriminated against, he whispers, recounting details from the Air Carrier Access Act like a little legal machine. Tamara tries to hold him back, tells him it's not their place, but Elijah is already unbuckling, already making his way up the aisle. When he steps into that conflict, he doesn't raise his voice. He just stands his ground, documents in hand, quoting laws and regulations with more poise than most adults could muster. Justice sometimes requires intervention, he says, invoking Dr. King with a gravity that makes even the flight attendants pause. Passengers pull out their phones, some record, others just watch in awe. And for a minute, it's as if every tired, angry, or hurt passenger on that plane finds a piece of hope in the defiance of this small boy with a backpack full of statutes and a heart full of purpose. The flight attendant backs down. The captain is called. Ms. Pearson gets her medical accommodation. Kat turns to Elijah, teary-eyed, thanking him. Most people don't speak up for themselves, much less for others. You did. And when Tamara, overcome with pride, walks her son back to his seat, Richard, the once stoic attorney, is now all smiles, engaging Elijah in a real, warm conversation about justice, ethics, and why law matters. You might have a future in advocacy, he tells Elijah, who shrugs and lists law as one of several career options, along with astrophysics and neurosurgery. That flight is a turning point, not just for Kat Pearson, who makes it to her daughter's graduation, or for Richard, who leaves them his card, but for Tamara herself, who realizes her son isn't just brilliant. He's courageous, principled, unafraid to stand up for what's right even when it means facing down authority. When they land, Maya, Tamara's sister, is waiting, and there's a reunion, long overdue, messy with tears and laughter, but so full of love that even the bitterness of the past seems small in comparison. Over the next days, as they sit with Josephine, their mother, Tamara's estranged heart, at the hospital, Elijah's gentle, logical wisdom helps bridge the gap that years of pride and misunderstanding had opened. He explains medical facts with kindness. He listens. He's honest even about hard things like cancer and dying. And through it all, he's present, really present, in a way that few adults ever manage to be. Josephine, frail and fading, looks at her grandson with wonder, seeing in him the same courage and sense of justice that had defined her own father, a civil rights attorney who fought for equality long before it was popular to die in the end. It's not the law books or the statistics that matter most, but the way Elijah's unwavering commitment to truth brings healing, a reconciliation between mother and daughter, a peace that allows Josephine to let go surrounded by the family she once feared she'd lost. For good. When she passes, Elijah processes her death in the only way he knows how, cataloging facts, finding comfort in the continuity of genes, values, and memory, recognizing that real legacy isn't just what we leave behind, but who we shape with our love and our actions. That on the flight home, Tamara reflects on all that's changed, how her son stood up for justice with nothing but knowledge and conviction, how old wounds have been mended, how love proved itself stronger than pride or regret. Elijah, organizing his books, is more aware now of what truly matters. Relationships are what matter most in the end. He tells his mother, eyes clear and wise beyond their years, so if you've ever doubted the power of standing up, even when you're the youngest, the smallest, the least expected to speak, remember Elijah. Sometimes the most extraordinary change comes not from shouting the loudest, but from speaking the truth when it matters most. And if this story moved you, if it reminded you of the courage or wisdom in your own family, let's talk about it. Leave a comment, share your story, and remember, sometimes the bravest act is to simply speak up, armed only with knowledge, love, and the unshakable belief that justice belongs to everyone.